Hey there guys, and welcome back to the Travis and Damian Podcast. We are available on anchor.fm/Travis Damian Podcast, along with Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and many more. This is going to be a E3 focused episode, so we're going to talk about everything that happened at E3 that we're interested in. So we're just going to talk about each conference, talk about the games in each conference, and then we're going to do some other things afterwards. So let's talk about Microsoft first, because they were the ones to do their conference first. So overall, their conference, I watched it afterwards, so I already knew what most of the big things that they announced were. But overall, watching the conference, it was kind of just like them showing a bunch of games and then saying some buzzwords or whatever, and then the ending was all about Halo and their next console, Project Scarlet, which seems very ambitious and very interesting. It would be very awesome that they pulled whatever they talked about off, with the AMD processor, 120 frames, whatever. But I wonder if that's going to be affordable to everyone, sort of thing. So
yeah, I kind of had that same impression. At least with the new console, I really like what they're going for here. With the faster loading times for SSDs and aiming for a higher frame rate and 8K. Even though I think the 8K is a little unnecessary. I think everything else they're aiming for is really good, and I feel like that's what consoles should be aiming for. But yeah, I don't know how much this thing's going to cost. At that point, you might as well just get a PC, right? So,
yeah.
It just depends on how they keep it. If it's going to be the same price as the Xbox One, then yeah, that's fine, but I'm pretty sure it's not. So that's going to be a big point there, I guess, next E3 when they kind of show it off fully. So,
yeah.
But in terms of the actual press conference, I thought it was okay. I feel like last year was way better. I feel like they kind of did the same thing last year, where here let's just show off a bunch of games and then there you go. But I feel like a lot of the games they showed this year were kind of just the same games again from last year. You got Cyberpunk and Battletoads that showed more, and Gears 5. I don't think it showed Gears 5 last time, but whatever, Gears related, Halo and stuff like that. So it kind of felt like the same, except it just showed more stuff.
Yeah, and definitely the highlight of the Microsoft press conference was Keanu Reeves coming out for Cyberpunk 2077, which honestly, I'm definitely one of those people that am I'm actually now excited for that game, all because he's in it. And I think that there was a report that he's the second character with the most dialogue or something like that, so that's going to be very cool.
Yeah, apparently he's supposed to he's supposed to follow you around the whole game or something. So he's going to be a big part of the game. He's not just some cameo. He's supposed to be like an actual main character, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, I think that game is looking real good now. I was very pretty won over by seeing some of the stuff last year, but this year I'm just yeah, this game is gonna be really good. But yeah, again, besides that, it was just they just showed off games. Just a ton of different things. Some of the games that interested me the most were of course Psychonauts 2, since I'm still extremely hyped for that. The Dragon Ball Z game, I'm still not too sure about, though, because it's just I still don't know what it is. Is it just going to be a boot? I know it's an action RPG, but I don't know if it's going to be a Xenoverse or what. I don't really know yet.
It's still a little up in the air. Yeah, just from the press conference, because I know that they showed a lot more gameplay afterwards, which I'm pretty sure me and you didn't watch.
No.
But, yeah, I mean, we've had so many Dragon Ball Z games where they've retold, the same stories over and over again. It's all about the gameplay at this point, so it's going to be very interesting seeing on how this action RPG sort of setting, open world sort of thing plays out, I believe. So I am kind of excited for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which is the name of it now.
Yeah.
And then they quickly showed Battletoads, which was a very stylized 2D art style, which I really like, instead of going for the whole 3D sort of thing, which was trendy 5 years ago when you did remakes of older games. And then they did a couple of brief announcements within the beginning of the show, such as Xbox Game Pass is now open beta for PC, which is very cool. I like that Xbox is being very open about PC, especially since they are Microsoft.
Yeah.
And Double Fine now being under Game or Xbox Game Studios. So definitely some very exciting things to come from those two things, I would say.
Yeah, they were really pushing the Game Pass, and that was kind of a theme for all these conferences. They were really pushing the subscription service and things like that, and I don't really have a problem with that, but I still think Microsoft might have the best one just because there's so many different games. Because later Ubisoft also revealed like they're having a thing like that, but just Microsoft just has so many more games that are not just like under a single developer like Ubisoft is, like they're all just Ubisoft things. With Microsoft, we're getting like a bunch of different things. I actually do think the Game Pass seems like a really good deal since it's only like $10 a month too. So yeah, it looks pretty good, and I'm glad it's going on PC.
Yeah. I would not be surprised if like PlayStation / Sony is definitely like trying to cook up their own subscription thing. But I feel like Microsoft is definitely ahead on this sort of like subscription based model just because they already have so many game developers under their thing. I wonder how many more outside of, the Sony / PlayStation exclusive studios that'll be under their subscription model, if I'm, predicting this right.
Yeah.
So other things that they showed off was Gears 5. It's literally just called Gears 5, which is very interesting. September 10th of later this year, which is going to be, once again, very interesting just because I feel like Gears 4 was getting really good in terms of the story, and then it just ended, and I was like, okay. So hopefully Gears of War 5 is able to brief up on the previous game's story, but at the same time give it its fulfilling conclusion in some way. And then we also got Borderlands 3, which was another game that I think a lot of people were looking forward to.
Yeah, I am very excited for Borderlands 3. They just keep showing more gameplay. I've been watching a lot of gameplay over the weekend of this game, and it seems like they're really improving the gunplay. Since I'm playing through Borderlands 2 now, because during that trailer, they released like a free DLC for Borderlands 2 that sort of like bridges the gap from 2 to 3, which is very good, by the way. But yeah, after going back to Borderlands 2, I'm like, yeah, the gunplay in this game isn't that great. Like, there really isn't that much feedback when you shoot a gun or anything like that. From the gameplay I've been watching of Borderlands 3, whenever you shoot a gun, it sounds good. I'm like, it seems like they're really like taking that into consideration, which is nice. So I'm looking forward to that.
I think Gearbox as a developer are kind of like in danger zone because I think their last couple of games have been not so good.
Exactly. Like they're basically riding on Borderlands 3, and I think they know that. So I think it's going to turn out to be good. Which from all the gameplay and stuff I'm seeing, it looks like they're going to be fine. But yeah, they really needed this game to come out sooner. So
yeah. And then the last couple of big announcements, we already briefly mentioned them earlier. The first one being Project xCloud, which is console streaming. So I think that this is Microsoft's jab at Google Stadia, I would say. So very interesting just because, we haven't seen how well Google Stadia is going to be. I'm assuming Microsoft is going to... I'm assuming that they assume that this is going to do well, Google Stadia. So they're like, all right, so we're just going to be ahead of them and just be like, all right, we're also going to have our console streaming thing.
Yeah, again, just like how everyone's doing the whole Game Pass thing, I feel like everyone is also doing this whole streaming like cloud thing, which again isn't bad. Like, it's good to have competition and things like that. But you could definitely tell like everyone just had the same idea at this point. Like, all right, let's just do this. So I guess ever since Google announced that we're gonna do the Stadia, they were just like, all right, we gotta beat them to the punch. So
or like meet them,
or meet them through or something,
Yeah. And then the last big announcement was the next console generation, Project Scarlet. Some things I mentioned earlier: AMD processor, 120 frames per second, 8K resolution, a SSD, low to / no loading times was like a big thing, and it should come out sometime holiday next year, 2020.
Yeah, so like I said, I think I like what they're aiming for here, but it's just going to be that price point,
Yeah, definitely. Because like by holiday next year, it would be very strange for like all of these like, AMD processors, SSDs to suddenly just get cheaper all of a sudden, So if Xbox were to sell this console at like a decent price, which I would think would be like $499.99, I would say, for a console of this, caliber and this powerful, that would be reasonable. But at the same time, I think that they would be losing a lot of money if they were to, fulfill all of these things that they mentioned and all of these buzzwords about being transformative and gaming to play the games when you want to play or whatever. So,
yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah. And then their like big launch title is obviously Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
So, Microsoft's still riding that Halo train ever since the original Xbox and now going into the next generation. It was just like a CG trailer sort of thing. So I've always been interested in like the Halo story, and the last game, Halo 5, I believe, wasn't all that great in terms of story from what I heard. I haven't played it myself, but I really liked Halo 4's story, in my opinion. So very intrigued to go and see on how this next console generation is going to be, just because right now it's just a bunch of buzzwords and, you know, things that Microsoft is saying, and pretty much this gives Sony the opportunity, because they didn't show up this year, to be like, all right, we either got to match them or like get ahead of them in terms of like the next console sort of thing.
Yeah. Again, we don't know too much. Like you said, it's just all buzzwords, so like really nothing matters until they actually show the thing. So so just anything they're saying right now, just take it with a grain of salt until they actually like see the specs or whatever. So
yeah,
but yeah, again, they have to keep that price down, because the whole reason people buy consoles so they don't have to spend like $1,000-something on a good PC, you know. So, and
like, you know, consoles are very easy for like, you know, the normal everyday consumer that has a couple of hours to play games every day, or, you know, maybe even once or twice a week. So like they just buy the console and then they just play it with their friends online sort of thing.
Yeah.
They don't want to worry about, you know, upgrading or like, you know, doing this, doing that. So hopefully when Project Scarlet does drop sometime next year, 2020 holiday, it is reasonably priced, and, you know, we get to know everything. We're definitely going to know everything by next E3.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I hope so. So, all right. Okay,
so that was Microsoft's thing.
Yeah, again, it wasn't crazy this year, but I mean, that's kind of the theme for all of these, except, like, Nintendo was, you know, since it's the end of the console generation, it wasn't, like, a lot to really talk about, because, you know, everyone's saving their stuff until, like, actually, like, it happens. So
yeah,
this E3 was just kind of just like just okay.
Yeah, sort of like whatever so far.
Yeah.
And then we got Bethesda, which I'm not a huge Bethesda fan, but it seemed like the crowd was really hyped over everything for no reason. But that conference as a whole, for me personally, was very boring and just like filler, and just like, oh my god, just show me Doom, which they saved for last.
Yeah, it was not a good conference. Like, I'm just gonna say it. Like, yeah, Doom Eternal looks amazing. I'm gonna talk about it more in a second, but there's a conference overall. I just feel like they don't need to show up every year. Like, I feel like they should only show up, or do like what Square does, like only show up if you have something like really good to show, because
yeah,
or else you're just gonna keep showing. They always show the same thing. They always show Elder Scrolls Online update, you know, the card game updates and things like that. I don't really care that much.
Yeah,
like that's not something you should really show at E3. You know, to show some like mobile game, and I was just like, what is going on? The only few things that really interest me was that like Ghostwire Tokyo or whatever. But even then, we didn't really see too much gameplay. It was more just, it was by the people who made what's that game called? Evil Within. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. And
the Wolfenstein expansion, which also looks kind of cool, and of course Doom. But besides those three things, it was basically just like nothing. It was just like some updates, like just them patting themselves on the back a lot, some like Fallout 76 stuff, and like, wow, we added NPCs now. It's just like, all right. So
like, I feel like Bethesda, you know, like they could still show up at E3 and, you know, show off all their games, but they don't need a press conference sort of thing. Like, they could just do these in like a string of tweets, or even like a Nintendo Direct style sort of thing, and sort of just like dumb it down and just, you know, sort of just like, all right, here's the things we got to announce this year. All right, see you next year. You know, like they don't need like this whole press conference with like people going on stage.
Yeah,
whatever.
It just seems like a waste of money for them too. I'm like, why even waste all this money just to announce like a mobile game on E3? Like it just seems like so weird to me. But yeah, besides that, it went pretty deep, well, not too deep, into Doom Eternal at the end, and yeah, it looks amazing. It just looks like more Doom 2016, and that's great. Like, you know, I'm very excited for that game. So yeah.
A lot more mobility, it looked like.
Yeah, a lot more mobility. You can like dash in the air now and stuff like that. I think they updated the multiplayer mode. I didn't play too much of the multiplayer in the original one, but apparently it looks like they changed that a bit. So
yeah, it should be better, hopefully.
Yeah, so it ends up the game just looks fantastic, and I can't wait for it to come out.
Yeah. And then the next press conference was Devolver Digital later that night. That was just a whole shit show, and I loved it.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, if you never watched one of these, it's just like them making fun of like E3 and stuff. Like the first one was just making fun of just like E3 in general. Like the second one was just making fun of like weird like cryptocurrencies and stuff, and this one was making fun of like the whole direct format, like like Nintendo and stuff like that. But yeah, they actually showed a lot more games than I was used to. Like usually they only show like 1 or 2 games, and it's mostly just to watch for fun. But this time they showed some stuff. They had like these weird like bootleg collection, which is a thing you can actually buy. Like you got like Hotline Milwaukee and like Enter the Gun Dungeon, like and they showed some other cool games. It was like this weird like sort of like Wipeout looking like survival like battle royale game. I forgot what it was called. They didn't really show too much gameplay of it. It was just like some trailer, but that looked cool. There was like this weird Gungeon arcade cabinet. This weird game where you like play as like this weird like meat thing. You just eat people. It's weird. But I mean, yeah, they showed a lot more games than I was used to, and it was fun to watch after Bethesda. So that's much definitely. I could say. Yeah.
Devolver was definitely a fun conference.
Yeah, they're always fun to watch. They're not too long either. They're really fun to watch after Bethesda because I always consider Bethesda to be the worst ones usually. So it's nice to watch them right after that.
Yeah.
All right. So since you didn't watch the Ubisoft one, right?
No, I didn't. So you could talk about it.
All right. So again, it was probably one of the not worst ones. It's just kind of boring as well. It started strong by showing Watch Dogs Legion, which is like the third game of that series, and it seems like they really put a lot of effort into this one. I know Watch Dogs 2 was pretty good apparently, but a lot of people were still sour because of the first one where it was like so many broken promises and everyone was so salty. So in this game, basically the whole gimmick is you could play as like any NPC. Like you I don't know how the game starts, but I guess you like play as some random dude. And then the whole point of the game is to like recruit people into like your weird anonymous like hacker group or whatever. So then you just recruit any NPC like anywhere in the map, and then you could play as them. So if that person dies, then they are dead forever, and you have to play as a different NPC. Like that's like the whole gimmick, and it seems pretty cool. Like you could play as like an old like grandma and stuff like that, and they were showing that off a lot. So that looks really cool. I think that's a pretty nice like gimmick they had there. But besides that, the gameplay does look exactly like the first two, whereas like you hack things to like cause some mayhem, and then like you just have GTA style missions and stuff like that. But I think that cool little gimmick of you being able to play as basically anyone, and they have like their own little origin stories. And they said every NPC is going to be unique and stuff. I'm like, that's BS, but it's okay. Like I mean, I could smell that from a mile away. But I think it's a pretty cool gimmick that you could just recruit anyone to have like this small army of hackers and things like that. I think that's a pretty cool thing. But besides that, the gameplay they showed was mostly just them switching between different people and stuff like that. And it seems like each like different NPC might have a different class associated with them. Like some might be better hackers and dealing with like drones and stuff, and some of them might be better for just straight up like killing people. So I actually got me really excited for it. Since Watch Dogs is like a series I never thought I would actually be into, because the first one bombed so hard, so I was just like I never thought I would pay attention to it, but no, they did a good job showing it off, so that got me pretty excited. Besides that, it just showed off again a lot of updates to like Division and like Rainbow Six Siege and all that stuff. I don't really play those games, so I wasn't really into it. For Honor, they showed more gameplay of some update for it. So yeah, again, it was just more of them just like, hey, play our other games as services and stuff like that. So
I know they brought like John Bernthal on stage.
Oh yeah, I don't even know what that was to advertise. I think that was for the new.
I think it was the new Tom Clancy game.
Yeah, I think it was. Crap, I forgot which one. It was either Ghost Wildlands 2, I think.
Yeah, I think Ghost Wildlands.
There was a lot of Tom Clancy stuff. So
yeah,
I think it was for that one, because they're also making a Rainbow Six, not Siege, but like a co-op sort of PvE thing, like Left 4 Dead, and that's kind of cool. They're making that into its own standalone thing, so that's kind of cool. But besides that, they also had this weird announcement for a next game they're making called like Gods and Monsters, which is coming out next year, I think. And it didn't really show much. It just seemed like it was just a CG trailer of like sort of like a stylized, cartoony looking like Greece, I guess. And they kept talking it up, like, oh, this game is going to be amazing. It's going to be this open world thing, but it didn't really show much. So I'm like, okay. And then
that open world game.
And then that was about it. Like, again, it wasn't a lot. So
yeah, I heard they bombed, so that's why I didn't even bother trying to even watch it.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
I say only the beginning part is kind of worth watching with the Watch Dogs stuff, because that was pretty interesting. But the rest of it was pretty boring. I'm not gonna lie. I'll say this part one of the weaker ones, because when I think of Ubisoft, the last thing I think of is boring. Usually I think of like either cringy or just like
yeah,
flashy. Like, it's kind of weird to have a boring Ubisoft press conference, but that's kind of what it was this year.
Then we got Square Enix.
Yeah.
I didn't watch theirs, but I know that people that did watch it live got like their minds blown with like Final Fantasy VII Remake and the Avengers game. So
yeah, so I also watched it. I think I watched all of them live, actually, now that I think about it. It was like the first year I was able to watch most of them live. So for Square, yeah, they started up with the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which has a release date of March 3rd, 2020. It's confirmed to be episodic, so it is going to be that episodic format where there's probably going to be 3 games, and this first game you're like in Midgard, which is like the first like 5 hours of Final Fantasy VII. So basically making that first 5 hours of Final Fantasy VII into like a 30-hour game, which I still don't know how I feel about that. Like, there's gonna be so much fluff in it. Like, it's just gonna, I don't know how that's gonna work. But anyway, they showed off more of the gameplay, since that's like a big concern for a lot of people, since they're moving away from the traditional turn-based that, you know, the original one was. And it looks to be more like, it's kind of hard to describe. It kind of Kingdom Heartsy. Like, where you have your action command.
RPG.
Yeah. So basically, you have like a basic attack and like a block, like you know, like an action game. But every time you do a basic attack, you fill up your ATP gauge, with like, you know, like the original game. And once that's filled up by doing enough basic attacks, the time would slow down, and you get like a menu option, so you're able to do like magic or whatever. And then you use it, and then it takes up that bar, and then, you know, the fight continues. So I think it's like a weird mix of like Xenoblade for like that whole auto attacking thing and getting like your actions up, and like Kingdom Hearts, where you also have like your command list, except you can't use it all the time. It's sort of like a weird mix of the two. And from the gameplay it showed, it looks like it works well. A lot of people are happy with it, and you know, it allows for that strategy that a turn-based game would give you, but also give you that sort of excitement that an action game would give you as well. So it looks like they're doing a really good job with the balancing that whole combat system, since when they went full action RPG with Final Fantasy 15, I wasn't that big of a fan, since you mostly just like spam like the attack button, and then it wasn't much thought involved in that. But yeah, it looks like the gameplay is shaping up to be pretty interesting. Obviously the graphics, I mean, that game looks amazing. Like, I think it looks very good for a PS4 game. Like, I am like impressed like a lot by it. It's very pretty. So yeah, like the reception about it just seems really positive, which is honestly surprising to me, because I didn't expect this game to like look as good as it does, considering all the delays, and it was announced like in 2015. So, but after that, it mostly just went through like, again, more updates. Even for Final Fantasy 14, I love that game, but I'm like, you didn't have to do a whole thing about it during E3. But again, it was more games that we kind of knew, like, you know, there was not too many big surprises throughout the middle of the thing. A lot of things that interest me, but it's not like, you know, it's not like that worth bringing up. And then at the end, they showed Marvel's Avengers. And, you know, I think people are giving this game a little hard of a shake just because the actors that are playing them, I guess the voice actors are, you know, they kind of just look like bootleg MCU characters, and I guess people can't get over that, and I can't either. Like, seeing not Chris Evans is kind of weird. I'm just like, that's not Captain America. You know? Yeah. Like,
we definitely have like this stigma because of like the whole MCU being as big as it is, and with Endgame happening so recently, you know, people seeing these like, you know, actors that are playing these characters in the game that kind of look like them but not exactly, you know, sort of thing. But what I think about the whole trailer was that, like, the story that they're setting up was very interesting. I will say that. The fact that, you know, they went on like this one mission in like Chicago, and then like it all went bad, and they think it was a setup, and like Captain America died because of it, and now, you know, they're trying to have like this redemption story sort of thing is what they're setting up. I found that to be very interesting. And then like the actual voice actors playing the Avengers, I did not know this, but Nolan North is Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Troy Baker is Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
And then Laura Bailey is Scarlet
Scarlett Johansson. No, Black Widow.
Black Widow, yes. Yeah. And then Thor is Travis Willingham.
Mm-hmm.
So like all of those all of those actors like do a fantastic job in whatever the game they're in.
Yeah.
So like the fact that they got them to do all of these characters was very, very cool. But you know, I know that people are complaining that these guys look like stunt doubles or whatever, but like, you know, I think that once people actually get the game and like they play it, they're probably going to get over that aspect. But, you know, from what we saw in that trailer, it looked a lot of, you know, just like QTEs or like, you know, scripted things. So like can't really judge it based off the gameplay, but what they showed us in that trailer, I really liked.
Yeah.
So.
The other thing I'm concerned about is we still don't really know, like, it's supposed to be like a I guess a 5-player thing, you know, with like a co-op thing. But also,
Maybe.
like, I don't know if it's supposed to be like a looter thingy, because when they were talking about it, they were saying like, you know, we want to make this game last forever. Like, we want to keep updating it, like sort of like a games as a service or like Anthem or Destiny. And they said they want to add in new heroes, because at the end they showed what's his face, not Ant-Man, the other dude.
Describe him.
The old guy in the MCU, not Paul Rudd, but the other dude. I forgot his name.
Oh,
him,
something.
him, yeah, that guy. So yeah, they showed him at the end of like the trailer. Like shrinking something down. So I guess like they're ready to add in more heroes, and I guess you would pay for them. I'm not too sure. They're not very clear on that, but But yeah, from the trailer I saw, it's promising, but I'm still not gonna like hold my breath. You know, I'm still gonna wait until it like comes out and see what people think. But yeah, looks better than I thought though. So
definitely, this game was teased and like mentioned for so long, and the fact that we finally got a trailer now is very cool. So I didn't know that it was gonna be whatever gameplay style that you were mentioning, because I didn't watch the conference. I just saw the trailer, and I hope it's not like terrible,
me too.
Just because, superhero games, especially like the movie tie-in ones are, they have a rep of just being really, really bad. And with, the Batman Arkham series and now the recent Spider-Man game, superhero games seem to be on a upswing. So hopefully this game can continue that motion.
Hopefully. But just because it's like so many characters that it's just so much harder to do than just one like hero. So hopefully they could balance that, but I guess we'll see in 2020 since that's when it's supposed to come out. So
yeah. Okay, so now we got Nintendo, which a lot of people will say that they won E3.
Yeah.
Probably because they actually just showed a bunch of games and now, like, hey, here's the next generation, because I think Nintendo's already in the next generation.
Yeah, they're already in the next gen, so.
So we'll just go one by one here. So the first announcement that they did was Dragon Quest quote-unquote Hero for Smash Ultimate. And that's going to be released sometime this summer. And personally, when this was announced, I know a lot of like Westerners, people from like the US and Europe or whatever are going to be like, oh my God, this character, why, sort of thing. But like me personally, I was like, that's cool, because I know how much of a impact that Dragon Quest has on the East.
Yes.
So, and that popularity of that franchise and the fact that they were able to go and get the Dragon Quest Hero into Smash Ultimate is very cool. I definitely had a opposite reaction to what most people had on like Twitter and stuff.
Oh yeah, me too, because he is such a big, like, Dragon Quest is such a big franchise over there that it's crazy that they weren't in Smash like sooner, since like they are a very big franchise over there. Like they literally like close, like they don't go to work, some people, just so they can play the new one whenever one is released. So I think they definitely do deserve a spot in Smash. I know people are salty because another sword fighter. But I feel like his from the trailer, he has like this whole magic menu like sort of system. I think that's enough to make him like really interesting and stuff like that. So I think people should just give him a chance before they're like, another sword fighter. So
yeah, and those people that are complaining are probably gonna buy him anyways.
That's what I'm saying. Like you're probably gonna buy him anyway. So it's like, anyway, why would you complain in the beginning of Direct? I kind of knew they were gonna show another character at the end anyway. So I'm like, why? Yeah, just wait. Like. But yeah, I like it because I like Dragon Quest, but I knew the reaction wasn't gonna be that positive about it, so
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for it. So.
Same here.
All right, so next to show Luigi's Mansion 3, which apparently is still coming out 2019, but it still don't give like an official release date, which is a little weird.
I'm assuming holiday at this point.
Yeah, I'm assuming holiday as well. But yeah, they just showed off more of the features and stuff. Obviously, you have your Poltergust, and you could like suck ghost stuff and stuff, but you could also like sort of slam them on the ground like pretty violently. They just showed off a bunch of different mechanics, and you have the plunger. You saw Luigi been using that for a while now in Smash.
Luigi.
You have Luigi, which is like, I guess like a sort of like co-op partner you could use, but also help for like different puzzles and stuff like that. They also saw like the Scare Scraper is back from Luigi Mansion 2, which I know a lot of people liked, so that's cool. I think it looks great. Like I think it looks a lot better than 2 in my opinion. I could never really get into Luigi's Mansion 2. I didn't really like the whole different mansions and stuff like that. And I'm glad that they're keeping it as like one big, I guess, hotel now. It's like a haunted hotel, but it's like a really big one. So I'm happy they're going for that approach instead of the multiple mansion approach. So I was very happy for what I saw for this.
Yeah, definitely. I'm in the same boat as you. I think that this is definitely going to be a lot more ambitious than Luigi's Mansion 2, obviously, but I think it's also going to be a lot better because of it. Just like the new mechanics that they were showing, the more combat focused sort of things that you could do with the ghosts was very cool. And I'm just very excited to go and play this game, because I remember playing the original Luigi's Mansion using a guide for the most part while playing that game, granted, but I still had a fun time with it. I never played Luigi's Mansion 2 just because it came out during a time when I wasn't really buying my games myself, because I was still at a very young age. But nowadays, when I look at it, I'm kind of like, it's still like $20. I could probably buy it whenever. So maybe I'll buy it and play it before Luigi's Mansion 3. I don't know, but maybe I'll just get into Luigi's Mansion 3 and just have fun with that.
Wait, did you ever play Luigi's Mansion 1?
Yeah, I beat it with a guide or whatever. Oh, okay. So I kind of played it, but not really, sort of thing. But, this game definitely looks a lot better and more interesting than the previous game.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, it looks fantastic.
Then we got Zelda Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
That HD remake. Honestly, I kind of forgot that they announced that a while ago. So when they showed it off, I was like, oh shit, yeah, this game. I was like, oh my god, it's so cute. So yeah, I'm definitely very excited for this game. Just because, it's a remake that I think does justice for the original Game Boy game, and it's coming out so soon, September 20th, later this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel the same way. I played Link's Awakening already. I played the DX version, which is like the Game Boy Color version, on because it was on the 3DS ambassador thingy. And I really liked it. It's one of my favorite Zelda games. It's super fun. The only concern I had with this game was that it's $60 and the original game isn't that long. It's maybe it's longer than a standard Game Boy game, but it's not $60 worth, I don't think. But I feel like they're adding more content with this thing they showed off. It's sort of not a fully a Mario Maker Zelda edition. It's not like a Zelda Maker, but
it's like a Zelda Maker Junior.
Yeah, sort of so basically you could I guess take once you beat a dungeon, it looks like you could take sort of the screens from that dungeon and mix them together with other dungeons, so you can make your own sort of custom dungeon, which is super cool. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, and I think that adds a lot more replay value, especially if they really integrate it with you could search for different dungeons and things like that. Again, it's limited that you can't really make your own. You can't really go inside the different rooms and switch things up. It has to be pre-existing rooms, it looks like. But it's a cool way to remix some things, and I think that could add more hours of fun. So I think that would pad out the $60 price tag, because I was like, that's a pretty because I'm like that's a steep price for a Game Boy game. So I think that's pretty cool. I hope they add more dungeons, more original dungeons anyway to the base game, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I'm still very excited for it.
Yeah, no, it looks really good. I'm pretty hyped for it now. All right, so now we got No More Heroes 3, which it's coming out 2020. I didn't really see much. It was just a CG trailer.
Yeah, it was just a CG trailer.
But it was glad to see him. He's back. I was kind of hoping they would release a No More Hero collection for the Switch, sort of like Bayonetta did. Since sadly, No More Hero, I never really played No More Heroes. I had 1 and 2. I just never bothered playing it, I guess. So like I was just kind of sad it didn't do that. Instead, it just released that weird like sort of like indie
The
game.
CG trailer.
Yeah, that CG trailer.
And then like that previous
Back.
like spin-off game. Yeah. So personally, when I saw the trailer, obviously they didn't show Travis Touchdown instantly, but like I knew that this was like something No More Heroes just because it looked like within that art style or something from like, you know, Platinum Games sort of thing. So I was like, all right, this is going to be like No More Heroes or something else. And then, you know, you see Travis Touchdown, I was like, this is it, No More Heroes 3. And I got really excited. Despite me not, you know, finishing the first No More Heroes, I can appreciate the, you know, the style and the presentation that the game is.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for the third game. It's going to come out sometime next year. And I'm very excited about that. I hope that they re-release the previous games on the Switch in some way, whether it's on the eShop or some collection of some sort, like you said.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think the second game is becoming a little bit more expensive on eBay because it is a pretty sought-off title on the Wii, because I think it was released later within the Wii's lifespan or something like that.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, make sure you track down yourself a copy soon. But the next game that they showed off was Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which is very interesting because this is a Switch exclusive, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
So it'll come out later next month, actually, July 19th. And it still looks good. You know, we have a lot of, you know, more of the newer characters that were introduced, whether through the MCU or like the various cartoon shows or whatever. So
yeah, I'm still pretty excited for this, honestly. You know, I really like the first two Ultimate Alliances that came out like a really long time ago. And it just looks more of that. So I'm pretty excited for it. I like that they're going more for the comic booky look because, you know, it's on weaker hardware, obviously, but also because, you know, I think it fits the aesthetics anyway. I know some people like it looks like a mobile game, but I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think it fits for like what the game is.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be getting glowing reviews because the original Ultimate Alliances also didn't get like super good reviews. They're just more like mindless beat 'em up fun. So that's kind of what I expect for this game. So as long as they deliver on that, I'll be happy with it.
Yeah. I think I might jump into this one as like my first Ultimate Alliance game just because it has a lot of characters that I'm familiar with now. So
yeah, thanks to the MCU, we know like a lot of them now.
So very interested to see on how it plays out.
So next they showed Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is obviously the new Animal Crossing game. They said it was supposed to come out 2019, but it has been delayed all the way to March 2020. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to wait a bit longer to actually play this. But it looks like they're putting a lot of work into it. So instead of being like a mayor, I guess, to a town, I guess you just make the town now. It's like
it looks like you're on like an island with like other people.
Yeah, so I guess they just dumped you in a deserted island, and I guess there's some like you know, light survival elements where you could like mine stone and like chop trees and like build different like stuff. So it looks like there really is like just make it yourself this time, which is kind of cool. Like you kind of shape how you want your town to really, really look like. So I guess that's a nice step forward. But besides that, I think that's all they really showed. It wasn't like too long of a trailer since it's coming out.
They showed more during the Treehouse Live, which I watched a little bit of.
I didn't watch too much of the Treehouse for this game in particular. So
yeah. Because they did it like immediately after the direct. They like jumped into Animal Crossing like pretty fast.
Yeah.
So personally, when it comes to the new Animal Crossing game, you know, people have been wanting a new Animal Crossing game ever since the Switch was announced, just because it is a handheld / console, you know, hybrid. So people were like, Animal Crossing, you know, like instantly, like this would fit a Animal Crossing game, no brainer. So the fact that we're finally getting one in 2020, I'm fine with that. And the reason why it's being delayed to 2020 is because of developer health, which was a topic within like the past 3 months, I would say.
Yeah.
Mainly because of like the whole BioWare thing with like, you know, they would like stress out their workers and, you know, like time crunch, this and that. But, you know, Nintendo was like, yeah, we're going to, you know, give our developers a nice healthy life. You know, they're going to work and then they're going to have their own life afterwards. So very cool of them to, you know, come out and really say that, because I think a lot of people need to hear that as to why it was delayed, not just because they need more time, but, you know, they need more time and then, you know, it's also for the developers themselves. But my thoughts on the Animal Crossing game is that it looks pretty cool. They are doing a lot more this time around. They definitely took their time in terms of like what they wanted to do with this game. And you could pick like your own skin tone and this and that, and like there's like gender neutral like clothes now. So like if you happen to be, you know, a person of if you happen to be a guy and you like to, you know, do girly things, you can do that within Animal Crossing, which is very cool, I would say, just because, you know, Nintendo is being very open about, you know, what we are within today in terms of, you know, like politics or whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty. I didn't expect that. I'm like, oh, that's pretty progressive. So yeah, yeah, no, but it looks good. Like, this seems to be giving you a lot more options for like everything. So
yeah, and like the multiplayer aspect is a lot easier now. So like you could just use like one Joy-Con for each player if like you're doing it locally, which is pretty cool. So yeah, very excited and happy with the new Animal Crossing game, and I cannot wait to go and see all of the people on Twitter going crazy about it
when
it launches.
Yeah, people are gonna lose their mind once this thing comes out. All right.
And then we got Banjo in Smash Ultimate.
So this
so like so when they did that whole cop out with Duck Hunt, I was like, no way. It's like they teased the puzzle piece and then they did that. I'm like, he has to show up now, right? And then he does, and I'm like, yes, this is awesome. This is very, very cool. And yeah, it's just you know, awesome to have another, you know, platforming mascot of the retro days during like the N64 be in Smash Ultimate, you know, because like I think that this was a character that a lot of people were like, this is never gonna happen, sort of thing.
Yeah, like I like just because he's such a Western character, like it felt like he would never be in Smash, even though he fits right in. Like, you know, he like I felt like he should have been in Smash like forever ago, but yeah, it was still crazy just seeing him there because like it's something people memed on for so long. Like, Banjo's like gonna be in Smash, don't worry, guys, and he finally did it, and it's crazy. It just like really shows that Smash Ultimate is just really adding like almost everything we wanted. Like Ridley, K. Rool, Banjo, like it's crazy. Like
Joker.
Yeah, well, Joker for me. Like I think I was the most hyped for Joker just because I literally never saw that one coming ever. I was like, how? But Banjo, I was always like, there was hope there, and I'm glad the hope paid off. So yeah, there's a car zooming by. Sorry, but
no, it's alright.
But yeah, Banjo is just like the music was also fantastic. It looks like they're getting Grant Kirkhope. I think they had him remix some things. So yeah, I think the model looks really good. I think his eyes are a little too big, but you know he looks really good.
Yeah, I think, you know, Sakurai really modernized Banjo's design for today, which is nice.
Yeah, it's a lot better than nuts and bolts. So.
Definitely. And yeah, I'm very excited to go and, you know, see exactly how this character plays out, because now after Banjo, there's like 2 more characters.
Yes.
For like the season pass or whatever, or the fighters pass, I should say. Yeah. So I'm just wondering if Sakurai is actually going to do more characters or not, because I feel like after these 2 characters, or after the next 2 characters, you know, maybe he should take a little bit of a break, work on something else, because, you know, he's been doing Smash Brothers for a very, very long time. Within like the past 5 years, you know, he did like quote unquote 3 games. You know, he did the Wii U and 3DS one, and now this one as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel like that we should, you know, give this guy a break with Smash Brothers, because he's pretty much given us everything we wanted within Smash Ultimate, I would say.
Yeah, like I kind of agree with that. I do think there might be a season 2, because it seems like they want to keep this game alive for a while. Since it looks like I don't even know if I want to play another Smash game after this one, because there's just so many characters. But it wouldn't surprise me if there was a season 2. It also wouldn't surprise me if maybe there's like an Echo pack, like maybe just like here have Shadow or something. Like that seems to be less work, because you're just like modeling a new thing, but you don't have to do any like balancing or anything like that. You just kind of just make an Echo. That would be kind of cool. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm pretty interested to see what they do as well after all is said and done with all of these new characters. So
yeah, and then seeing the whole roster afterwards, it's just like crazy that we have all of these characters in one game.
Yeah, it looks fake. Like it doesn't look real anymore. Like that's insane. Like if I showed this to my like 10-year-old self, I would have been like lying. But yeah, but it's insane. And it's also coming out fall 2019, so it's not that far. You know. Heroes coming out 2019 I'm sorry, summer, and then Banjo's coming out fall, so not too long of a wait for either of those 2.
They were probably developing these characters for a while and just we're waiting for the right time to show them off.
So I thought that was the end of the Direct for a second, but then he double debated us. I'm like, oh, what, there's more? So yeah, so then they showed a trailer for Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, which is probably not its real name, but that's what it is right now.
Yeah.
And basically it was just like sort of like this really creepy like sort of like trailer where it just shows like it's just like I don't know what song it was, but it was in backwards, and like it showed like I guess Ganondorf like this like as like a mummy, and it was very creepy. It gave me a lot of Majora's Mask vibes, and it's kind of like what they're gonna do with this game anyway. Since they've already said they're gonna be using the same engine and Hyrule in general from Breath of the Wild to the sequel. So it sounds like it's gonna be like a Majora's Mask where it's basically the same game but new content. And you know what? I'm totally okay with that because I really like the gameplay from Breath of the Wild. So yeah, I'm just down for more of that. If since they're making a sequel for it, so
my thing is that like Breath of the Wild was such a big game in terms of like for Zelda and like for Zelda fans in general. I feel like that them, saying that we're making a sequel to it was a smart move just because, like that was a game that they worked on for so long, and that was, the engine and like the open world and everything like that. It's kind of, not smart of them to just, throw that all away after one game.
Yeah. So
them saying that we're making a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild 2. We don't know what it's going to be called yet, but, it's Breath of the Wild 2 right now. It's going to be very, very cool to go and see what they do with it and how much more expansive they can get, outside of what they've already done with the first game,
Yeah. And again, I hope they really fix the problems I had with Breath of the Wild, being like the weapon, like dying in like 2 swings, hopefully better dungeons. Like I hope they actually give me real items like hook shots and like stuff like that. I think that would be cool. Because really they can only like improve from here. Like I feel like a lot of the shortcomings from Breath of the Wild could be definitely fixed in this one, and it could just be like the perfect game. So I am totally excited for whatever this is gonna be. So I'm just excited. That's something I kind of saw it coming, because again, like you said, I feel like they wouldn't just waste like something they spent so long making, like the engine for Breath of the Wild on just one game. So it makes sense for them to just make a sequel using the same engine. So I'm just excited.
At first, I thought it was like another expansion.
I did too. Like, yeah.
They wouldn't just announce this at the end, sort of thing. So. But
yeah, overall, I think Nintendo definitely had the best one. And again, I suspect even before E3 even happened, I suspected Nintendo would have the best one because they're already mid-swing in the Switch's lifespan, and everything else is sort of like laying back. They're just announcing things that have been announced already. Just like showing trailers for things that have been promised for a while. And while Nintendo, they could do whatever they want since they're like, the Switch already came out. So
yeah, and it's doing very well for them. So
yeah.
Me personally, outside of Ubisoft and Square Enix, because I didn't watch those, Nintendo obviously, because like they just showed games, like they didn't have any like specs or anything like that. Also, like their like direct was very fun in ways, because like when Doug Bowser came on, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I see what you guys are doing here. Okay.
I knew they were going to joke like that.
Yeah. Nintendo's thing was just a bunch of games back and forth, so I really like that. And then I guess in like second place for me would be like, I guess Microsoft, because, they showed a lot. Maybe I wasn't interested in all of it, but, they definitely showed a lot, and they gave the information that I think a lot of Xbox fans wanted, including the next generation. So, and then I guess Devolver, then Bethesda.
Yeah, I guess for me, I'll probably rank it again Nintendo at top, since they showed a lot of good stuff. They have a lot of good surprises, which is kind of what I like E3 for. I like the surprises, and I felt like a lot of these other conferences didn't really have any like wow moments. They were just like, all right, whatever. Nintendo's always good at giving you something like crazy at the end. So yeah, I really like Nintendo's Direct. It was really good. Probably in second place, I'd probably put Square. It was either Square or Microsoft. I think I was more interested in the stuff Square showed, honestly. Like I was pretty interested in a lot of the other games in between. Obviously the Final Fantasy Remake and Avengers. I think they showed a lot of cool stuff. So I'll probably place them second. Microsoft third. Again, show a lot of good games. Cyberpunk looks amazing, but again, it's like a lot of games we already knew, like Borderlands 3, Psychonauts 2, Cyberpunk, like. Everything we kind of already knew already. And Halo Infinite didn't really show much. It was just a CD trailer, so it was like, whatever. I didn't really get too hyped for it. So, but yeah, I'll place them third. They did show a lot of good things, though. Then, I don't even know what to put Devolver. I'm gonna put Devolver in like the meme pile. Like they're great, but like, I don't know if I really rank them. But after that, I'll probably put Ubisoft and then Bethesda because Bethesda just sucked. So
yeah,
yeah,
they really didn't have much to show. But outside of the conferences, the games and things that we are looking forward to the most, 3 to 5 things pretty much. I'll go first just to like give you some time. So the thing I'm most excited for is Animal Crossing, just because, you know, this is a game that a lot of people have been looking forward to, and I think that Nintendo, they're smart enough to know that, you know, their audience, and they know exactly how important this game is to a lot of people now, since New Leaf was so popular and so successful, and with the Switch's popularity, you know, this could possibly be a lot of people's first Animal Crossing game, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. And then I think in second, the second thing I'm most looking forward to is the Avengers game, just because I'm a huge Marvel fan, and I know that, you know, we've never had a Avengers game before. So with their popularity as it is now, I wonder how well that game is going to do, especially with, you know, whatever gameplay style that it's going to be or whatever. And then third, I would definitely say Xbox's next generation, just because of how ambitious and how, you know, the buzzwords that they were saying and all of that stuff. How are they actually going to execute it for holiday 2020, and the price point, obviously, just because it is going to be so expensive on paper, but how are they going to do it at a cheap cost? That is going to be very interesting. And then outside of that, obviously Banjo and Smash, that is very, very cool and very hype for a lot of people, especially if you grew up with Banjo-Kazooie back in your day. And then I guess lastly, Luigi's Mansion 3, because that game just looks very, very fun.
Oh yeah. I guess for me personally, you know, obviously Zelda Breath of the Wild too. You know, I love Breath of the Wild. It's a hard time saying if that's my favorite Zelda game or Wind Waker still, since I just absolutely love Wind Waker. But I'm definitely excited for 2, and if they could fix again all the problems I had with Breath of the Wild, then it would probably be my favorite. So I am definitely looking forward to the sequel of that. I am also very excited for Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm not the biggest Animal Crossing fan. I kind of just started with New Leaf. Like, you know, I'm not like that deep into that series. But I really like New Leaf. So being able to like play a new one, being all fresh and new, that would be fantastic. And I love all the sort of like you could just basically make your town the way you want it to look like, I guess. I'm looking really forward to that game as well. Cyberpunk looks extremely good. You know, I've been dying for something like a New Vegas for a while, where it's just like a, you know, first person, but like, you know, it's more based on like the RPG elements, like either from dialogue or from like, you know, abilities and things like that. And I feel like Fallout 4 really disappointed me in that front, so I've basically been looking for like that high I got from New Vegas again. And Cyberpunk and both Outer Worlds and Cyberpunk both look very good. I'm gonna lump them two together since they kind of look like the same thing, like they try to go for in that front. So yeah, I'm very excited for those two. Psychonauts 2, obviously, because I've been looking forward for that game for a really, really long time. Yeah. And from the gameplay they've been showing, it looks very good. It looks like there's been a lot of improvements to the combat, especially since the combat in the original Psychonauts is just whatever. You know, it's just like standard like platformer combat where you just hit things or shoot something. The combat that they've been showing in some of the gameplay I've been seeing looks a lot better than the first one. So I'm very excited for Psychonauts 2. And then I would say the Final Fantasy VII remake. I am interested to see where they're gonna go with this, since mostly in the story department, since the gameplay they've already kind of sold me on it with what they've shown. But I'm very interested to see how either padded or like what the story is going to be, since I don't know how they're going to just make an 8-hour part or even less than that part of a game feel like a whole game. Like it interests me, and like it frightens me since I don't know what they're going to do here. So I am kind of looking forward to that in both like anticipation and like don't mess this up. So did I say 4 or was that 5?
I have no idea.
Okay, I'll say one more. I'm looking forward to the Avengers game as well. Again, it's more of that weird like anticipation, but also like don't mess this up, since they could very easily mess this game up. So I'm going to keep that game under a really tight radar here, and just like anytime they release gameplay or whatever, I'm going to really look at it. But right now, I'll say I'm pretty hyped for it. So I think they did a good job showing what it's going to be. So.
All right, so that was E3 of this year. I'm very excited for next year's E3 because I think that's definitely going to be everything for the next generation, you know, specs, consoles, the names, prices. So that'll be very fun for next year. So is there anything else you would like to add to Good Stuff?
Not much. Just hope Sony is back next year, because I would like to see them here again. So
yeah. So that is it for this episode, and we'll see you guys 2 weeks from now.
See you.